Hi there, in this Photoshop video tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create your own call to action button. Now, a call to action button is a button that tells your visitor to take action. It could say something like subscribe, get instant access, free download, download. You get the idea. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up the file, click on new. Our button will have a width about 640, a height about 480, a resolution of 72 since it's for the web. Background will be transparent. Click OK. Then I'm going to go to the layers panel, click on the new icon layer. I'm going to go to my shapes, make sure rounded rectangle is selected. If it's not, just right click and select it, but mine's already selected. Make sure it says shape here. And I want to use a fill color of orange because I've always been told that orange catches the eyes of people. So we're going to use a color of orange. We're going to make sure our radius here is about 35. And then we just draw this out. It will automatically fill the color. Now, I want to make sure that this is centered on the canvas. So what I'm going to do is click on the Move tool, go up to Select, and click on All. And by pressing these center ones right here, I can make sure that this is in the center. Now we're going to press Control D. The next thing I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and rasterize this layer. After rasterizing this layer, I also want to go ahead and apply some effects like a bevel emboss. You can play with these buttons as much as you like. I want outer bevel. Just show you what they do. You can do up, down, you can change the size. You can do different things. You can do soften. You get the idea. You just play around until you like it. I'm going to go with that. Also, I want to go ahead and give my button a stroke. I'll make the color red. I'm not going to worry about the exact shade of red. I'm going to just give it a red. It kind of makes it pop out a little more. And also, let's go ahead and give it a drop shadow. And we'll make sure it's a 90. The distance, spread, and size, you can play around with those till you like it. See, they do different things. Get the idea right there. See that distance here is a distance from the button. So we don't want it to be that much. That should be fine. I'll go with that. We'll click OK. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that this button is selected. So I'm going to press the Control button and press on the button itself right there. It's selected. And I want to create a new layer. And we're going to call this highlight because we're going to give this button a highlight. Press OK. And now I don't want the highlight to be the exact same size as the button. So what I'm going to do is go up to Select, go down to Modify, press select Contract. And we're going to use about 2 pixels. Alright, with that still selected, the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure my colors are the default colors, but I'll make sure white is the foreground color, not the black. You notice if you press this here, it automatically makes the black the foreground, but we want the white to be the foreground. And then we want to click on Gradient, and it's already where I want it to be, but what you want to do is make sure it's on the foreground color to transparent. You want to make sure it's on linear, and just starting just above the button itself, go ahead and hold Shift down and draw your line to about midway of the button. There you have a slight highlight. Now what you can do next is you can actually move that highlight down a little bit. Press Delete. There you go. Then Control D. And give it a highlight. And that's a little too glaring for you. You can use your opacity and turn the opacity down a little bit. We'll go with like 50% or close to 50, somewhere in the 50s. That looks fine to me. Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to make it our text. Press on the text tool. I'm going to use impact for my font, and I will use white for my color. And let's change the shape or the size. Make it 36. And then we'll just type the word. I'm going to do all caps for this. I just call it. I'm going to make it my download button. Then we'll click here. Now that's a little small, so what we're going to do is press Control and T at the same time for the transform tool. Let me try it again. I forgot you do not want your type tool still to be on. And what we're going to do is just drag this out a little bit. And then we'll just click this right here. All right, now let's give our download button. Let's first get this centered. We know this button is centered, so let's go ahead center the text. Once again, click on the Move tool, go to Select, All. Of course, there's shortcuts. You'll learn those on your own. There, now we know it's centered. Press Control D. Now let's go ahead and give some blending options to our text there. We're going to give that also a bevel and emboss. And I'll make that size a little larger, I think. There. I also want to give it a stroke. I'm going to make this one black. I'm going to worry about the exact shade. 2 pixels should be enough. We won't be on the outside. And also, we got the bevel emboss. We got the stroke. Maybe a little bit of gradient overlay. I'm going to change the color of the gradient overlay. And we can also change the size of that by using a scale. So maybe you don't want it to be quite that glaring. Click OK. And this gives you a brief idea of how to create a text button or call to action button. So next what we're going to do is going to just make sure we save it. Click Control S or go to File and click on Save. And I'm going to save this as a PDF simply because I want to use this button over again. That way I can change download to subscribe or get instant access or something like that. So we'll just call this call to action. Call to action button. Save my pictures. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next one.